Honor and high privilege to introduce to you a man that has been a public servant for the past 14 years. But before that, he was a former civil rights attorney himself, a fighter for inclusion, diversity, and progress in the Commonwealth. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the 70th Governor of the Commonwealth, His Excellency Timothy M. Kaine. Mr. Governor.
Thank you all so much. And welcome to all. Welcome to all, please. This is a remarkable day, and I want to thank first my Secretary of Administration, Viola Baskerville, for her generous contribution, introduction, and leadership on this project. I reminded Viola when we sat down that she and I began public life together the same day. We were both elected to the City Council of Richmond and sworn in on July 1, 1994. And we have been friends and colleagues for now 14 plus years. In addition to so many other wonderful things, Viola has played a key leadership role in changing the physical landscape of our city. She led the effort to construct the statue to Arthur Ashe on Monument Avenue. She led the effort with others to construct a statue of Abraham Lincoln and his son Tad at the National Civil War Visitor Center. And she has played a leadership role today in opening up our Capitol. Viola, you are a wonderful friend and public servant. Thank you so much. It is a treat to share this day with you. Let me ask you this question. How do you like the new Virginia? How do you like the new Virginia? Because this is the new Virginia. This is the new Virginia. With the unveiling of this statue, we do three things on Capitol Square that have not ever been done before. The first, with this statue, we open up to Capitol Square to all who have been Virginians. To all who have been Virginians. The statues we have are great. And they recognize people of great accomplishments, but let's be honest, they only recognize one kind of person. They don't recognize all who have been Virginians. And in our 400 plus year history, there's so much and so many worthy of recognition. Women came to the Commonwealth in 1608. Until today, there's never been a statue on the square of our capital where a woman plays a key role. African Americans came to Virginia in 1619. In fact, I'm struck by a parallel with Julian Bond standing here. I'm reminded, if you'll allow me a digression, when Julian Bond was elected to the legislature in Georgia, he was refused the ability to take his seat because he was opposed to the Vietnam War. And there was a protest on the Capitol Square in Georgia where Martin Luther King spoke. And Martin Luther King referred to Virginians and Jamestown, and he said, "We were here since before the Pilgrims came to Plymouth Rock," referring to Jamestown in 1619. But until today, there has never been a recognition on this Capitol ground of the contributions of African Americans. So the first thing we do today that is long overdue, that does make this a new Virginia, is we open up Capitol Square to recognize women, recognize African Americans, recognize all who have been part of the history, the tragic but triumphant history of this wonderful Commonwealth. That's the first thing we do. And we do a second thing. The most common visitors to Capitol Square are children. As Lisa described and Stanley described, the most common visitors to Capitol Square are children, and yet there is not a monument, there is not a recognition of the role that children have played in the life of this Commonwealth. There's a wonderful prophecy, a spooky prophecy in the book of Isaiah, "And a little child shall lead them." That theme occurs throughout history. It has occurred throughout the history of the Civil Rights Movement. In 1951, Barbara Johns leading the walkout in Moton High School. During the Birmingham civil rights struggle in the 1960s, when the days were dark and it looked like Reverend King's efforts to break the back of segregation and public accommodations in Birmingham was not going to be successful, young children stepped up and marched into the hoses and marched into the dogs to say that we're children, and yeah, the adults want to keep us out of this, but this is about us. I'm sitting here with my wife Ann, when my wife Ann was a young girl in the governor's mansion. And the history of governors of this Commonwealth have been to turn their backs on inclusion and fight to maintain separation on the grounds of race. Anne, together with her brothers and sisters and her mother and father, embraced the notion of an integrated Commonwealth, integrated schools, and the pictures of Anne and her brothers and sisters walking into school buildings, integrated schools in Virginia, made news nationally and across the country. Children have been at the forefront of so much. And so now today, children who visit Capitol Square will be able to see the role that children have played, the leadership role that children have played in the life of this Commonwealth, this nation, and of this world. Why is it that a little child will lead? Children show us important things: humility, reliance on others, but most especially optimism or hope. Hope can get a bad word sometimes, as if it's just naive or blissfully ignorant. But without hope, Barbara Johns would not have done what she did. It wasn't just about a protest. She believed that life could be different. She hoped that life could be different, and so it was. And we're doing a third thing. We are opening up the Commonwealth by this statue. We are acknowledging the role of children, but this is also the first statue on the grounds that isn't just about yesterday, it is about today and tomorrow. It is about today and tomorrow. William Faulkner said, and I love this quote, "History is the effort to create a usable past." If it's just about the past, save that for the historians, but for us regular folks, it's got to be usable. We've got to learn and then put it to use to live better and better every day, and that's what this statue is about. Without giving it away, when it is unveiled and you have the chance to take a look at it, you will see that there are 4 sides to this statue, and 3 represent figures of history that we can learn from. But the 4th side is about the young people of today and tomorrow. This monument opens up the Capitol Square. We're not just here about the past, it is about the future. This is a wonderful day to be a Virginian. We'll all remember this for the rest of our lives. Thanks to all who have played such a key role in making this day happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Today is one of the few times I will request of the governor an action, and he will actually do it. But before that, I do want to recognize an individual who was here at the groundbreaking, Reverend Curtis Harris. He's 84 years old, a Virginia leader in the civil rights movement, National Vice President of SCLC, and a long-time crusader for civil rights. Reverend Curtis. Unveiling of the Virginia Civil Rights Memorial, in the moment we have all been waiting for. Governor, Mr. Underwood, may I ask that you both move toward the front of the memorial, and may I also ask Mr. Bond and Ms. Giovanni, our honorary co-chairs, to follow them, please. Yep. I would like to announce that the veil has been designed and created by students from the Virginia Commonwealth University School of Arts and Design for this special occasion. As they are moving toward the front of the memorial, I ask the Friends Association of Children Handbell Ensemble to come forward and position yourselves. Please clear the walks because we will be having certain people assisting in the unveiling. We'll have the children please come forward and position themselves. Representing the Moton School, John Stokes, student participant in the 1951 Robert Russell Moton School protest and plaintiff in Davis versus County Board of Prince Edward County. Rita Mosley, student doing the Prince Edward School closing, Brown versus Board of Education scholarship grantee, 2008 graduate St. Paul's College. Representing the family of Barbara Johns, Andrew Harrison, grandson of Barbara Johns, Alexis Harrison, granddaughter of Barbara Johns. Representing the family of Reverend F. Francis Griffin, Skip Griffin. Representing the Oliver Hill family, Oliver Hill Jr., son of Oliver W. Hill Sr. Representing NAACP leaders, of course, Mr. Vaughn, our honorary co-chair. The Civil Rights Commission, represented by former First Lady Lisa Collis. The Civil Rights Memorial Foundation, represented by Judith Anderson, Chair, Richard Reynolds, and Congressman Bobby C. Scott. Representing members of the Virginia General Assembly, the Honorable Dwight Jones, Chair, Virginia Legislative Black Caucus, and the Honorable Henry Marsh, Senator, General Assembly. Representing interfaith religious leaders, Reverend Benjamin Campbell, Richmond Hill, Reverend C. Douglas Smith, the Virginia Interfaith Center, Reverend J. Rayfield Vines, and Dr. Ali Husseini, representing the Islamic Center of Virginia. Representing present Student Day students of Prince Edward County Schools, Shanika Epperson. Representing civil rights champions and trailblazers, Kalada Walls Lanier, representing the Little Rock Nine of Little Rock, Arkansas. Cheryl Brown Henderson, President and CEO of the Brown Foundation for Educational Equity, Excellence and Research. And Elaine Jones, former President and Director Counsel, NAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund. And Mr. Andrew Heidelberg, member, Norfolk 17 and Brown versus Board of Education Scholarship Committee. In addition, we have Karen Wood, representing the Virginia Indian Heritage Program. I would like to take a moment before the unveiling to thank the Celebration Executive Committee and all of our state volunteers who have made this celebration possible. In addition to them, our many sponsors who gave financial assistance. I would also like to recognize the presence of Senator Louise Lucas. The Friends Association for Children Handbell Ensemble will now perform "We Shall Overcome" on the count of 3. At the same time, we will have the unveiling. 1, 2, 3. platoon. After the conclusion and recessional music, please join us in the Patrick Henry Building for an arts ensemble reception. Mr. Blunt and the Richmond Boys Choir, please begin.